In this tutorial in CyberLink PowerDirector, we'd like to show you how to create a dual title reveal mask. This is where one title appears in the middle of the screen and moves to the left, another appears magically in the middle and moves to the right. This is very common in advertising. We're going to show you an example of how to do this using the title reveal mask. We're using PowerDirector 365. You need a version of PowerDirector that has this feature in the title room. So let's show you the example and then we'll cover the technique. The first thing we're going to do is go to our title room. I simply click on the T or press the F7 key. I'll take the My Title and drag it down to track number 2. I'd like to increase the duration. I can either click on the clock or I can simply drag it. I'm going to drag it out somewhere around 13 seconds or so. And now I have the title. I need to get into the title designer. I can press the F2 key or I can double click. And now we're going to change this. We'll change the text of the title. This will say Online Savings. And let's change the font a little bit. I'm going to make it bold. Let's make it smaller. I think I need it even smaller than 26. We'll try maybe a 22. And I'm going to add a border to it. I'll click on the border tool and go off of the default of blue and make it black. I think I'll make it 2 and we'll give it just a small shadow. Turn on the shadow controls. I'll change the distance from 3 to 2. Okay, I think I have that the way I want it. Now, I don't want it to appear above her face. We're going to change the position of this. I want it to end up right about here. Now I'm going to turn a grid on so I can see where the middle of my screen is. So I'm going to click on the grid tool, the grid lines, and off the recording screen I'll just do a 2x2 and now we see where it will appear. And I'd like Online Savings to be to the left. I need to manipulate this by using the title reveal mask. So I'm going to click down into my title reveal mask option. The default is the entire screen. You notice I have a little circle in the bounding box that covers the whole screen. The mask should be where I want the title to be visible. So what I'm going to do is turn off the Maintain Aspect Ratio button on the left side, and we'll simply change this. I don't need I could leave it at that entire segment of the screen, but I really don't need to. So we'll have it come that way. And now I need to keyframe my title to get some motion. So what I'm going to do is figure out how far into the project do I want this text to be at this location. Make sure I'm not playing it here. I'll move over maybe 2 seconds. Let's try it that way. And I'll set a position keyframe. So that's where my text is. Now I'll move back to the beginning. And I'm going to watch, because if I look, my Y position is 625, and I'll drag this to the right and make sure it's at 625, and we'll stop this and play this and see what happens. Okay, so I have my Online Savings. It's coming across horizontally. Now what I need to do is add another text for my text to the right. What I'd like to do in order to keep this very easy is to uncheck the display box, and we're going to make the first one invisible. Otherwise it gets very complicated. So I'm going to click anywhere in here, or I can click on the T. We'll do another title. And I want to make sure the position is 625, so I go to my object settings. And I'm going to set this to 625. And then I'll type in my title. Let's call this Summer 2021. And let's make it all centered. And we're going to change the font a little bit, make it different. Let's go to Impact. I can just start typing the name. And we'll change the color. So we need to go to Font Face, Uniform Color. Well, let's make it a 2-color gradient. We'll start with a bit of an orangey color. And then we'll end with something in the same spectrum. Pretty good. Let's do one more thing. We'll change the border. We'll change the border color to something in kind of a reddish. Let's try this one, almost a reddish orange. And that looks pretty good. Now, where do I want it to end? We'll move it to position, and we're going to go back to our object settings. And I want it 625. That's a good place to end it. Do we want it to start at the same time the other one does, or do we want it to start later? In this case, I have to pay attention to my time code. Is it the clip time code or the movie time code? Let's go to movie time code. We're setting this to the movie time code, and we're going to have it come in right when the other one finishes plus a half a second. So it's 2:15. So that's half a second later. We give it the same attributes. Now I'll set a position keyframe. And I'll set another position keyframe 2 seconds later. So 2.5 to 4.5. So it will travel at the same speed as the other one. It will end here. Go back to the beginning keyframe by clicking the left arrow on the position scale. And now we're going to drag it back and make sure it's at 625 when we stop. We'll change the numbers here to match it so it's perfectly horizontal. And now we need to add a title reveal mask on the right side. So I'll click on title reveal mask. I'll turn off maintain aspect ratio on the mask. And we'll have the mask start again in the very same location halfway in. We'll make it smaller. Again, we don't have to adjust the height if we don't want to. And then we'll click on stop. Now that I've done the one on the right, I haven't tested it yet, but let's do that right now. We're going to stop this and then we'll play. And then it should come in and move to the right. So now we're going to turn back on our one that goes to the left and one that goes to the right. We'll hit stop. Now we'll play the video. We have one moving left, online savings, summer 2021. Now in this particular case, I think they move too slowly. So all I need to do is change the distance between the keyframes. Let's change this, move this keyframe back to maybe a second. So we'll go 3:15. And then I'll take the first one, I'll make it the same speed. We'll change the attributes here and we'll have this come in. At 1:15. I can always enlarge the time. Here we go, 1:15. Looks good. We'll stop it. Let's play. And now they both will appear and come in at the same speed, but they'll come in more quickly. We'll play one more time. Online savings, summer 2021. And so that's a very easy way to accomplish that task. If I want a line between them, which I had in my example, the easy way to do that is we're going to click on OK. We've got our titles taken care of. I'm going to go back to my media area, my media room, and click on the blue arrow that gives me more information. I'll take a color board, and let's take one that's in the similar color pattern. We'll take this orange one here. Now we'll drag that one down, put it on a higher numbered track. I'll go into the edit mode of the color board. I'll double click on it. And now we're going to change the attributes of it. We'll put the opacity at 100%. And then we're going to turn off maintain aspect ratio. We'll make it smaller. And here's where precision helps with you use the numbers. What I'll simply do for width, it's 0.63. I can make it 0.13. And I can also change the height. And I think I want it even smaller yet. We'll go maybe 0.005. And then I think I'll move it down a bit. And let's see how it plays now with something like that in the middle. Online savings, summer 2021. So this is one way to use a simple graphic to separate the text. If you prefer not to do that, it doesn't matter, but it's just a simple way to add a little more color and flair to your titling when you do a dual title reveal in CyberLink PowerDirector.